is Rage, and welcome one all to the next episode of Minecraft Quick Build Challenge Classic Edition. I don't know why I'm using trailer voice in a world where blocks were placed. Some were placed quicker than others in arenas near you. And by near you, I mean literally only my arena. It's nowhere near you, although it might be because technically it's on the internet, so if you have a connection, it's next to you. But we'll not get into that kind of spacey shit. It's not to do with space. I mean the internet's the web space, so technically I'll shut up and continue with the show. 18th of August. I don't know what that was. I don't really like to apologise. I'd like to apologise, but I'm not going to. Oh! And just before I start properly, I just want to point out. Oh my God, it's a split pass. Need to say I'm no child. I'm like 16, which to me is like something a child would say, because you'd be like, I'm not a child. I'm like 16. Like you see why? Yeah. Challenges. I don't even. Rage better not have a problem with America. I don't even care. I don't even care. Alright, so the winner of last week's theme park build with my little brother story that you all rather enjoyed. Yes, indeed. I wonder if I'll have another one for today. I might do. Or I might probably not. You never know. It was Boom. It was Boom. No, it was me with 863. Shoot a twist. Let us see what twist we will be waiting. It was that close. That's why the votes were low, because it was really close. Yes, indeed. Because there were a couple good builds last week. Mr. MJGKJR has shot the twist, and it is... Ha! No twist. No twist. Like, what I like is that there's about 6 mines, as I like to call them, behind here that all say no twist, and it's like, ha! Because normally, although they seem to be quite happy that there's no... Oh no, there we go, there's the damn it. Anyway, let's start. Topic is machinery that they have chosen, yes indeed. I shall now place 12 minutes on the clock, the 12iest minutes on the clockiest of the clock. Now, machinery. Initially, I had a few ideas for this. I was going to build Optimus Prime, then I was like, nah, I'll make a Rage Bog, nah. Then I'll make a Terminator being melted into a puddle, and I was like, nah. So what I'm going to do now is attempt to make a enhancement facility. Now, how this is going to work is, I have no idea yet, but it should be pretty cool if I can pull it off. This build is either going to fail spectacularly or succeed spectacularly, much like everything I attempt. Everything I attempt really has a 50% chance of being epic or 50% chance of being cool. The earliest memory I have of that being a thing that I do is when I was, I think, 6. I was in a supermarket, and you know those chains they put across various checkouts to show that they're closed? My young self looked at that and went, supermarket, please! I could hurdle that shit. And basically, I attempted to do just that. Now, as you can imagine, the smallness of my body at the time, being that I was like 7, did not allow me great reach with my legs. So what this resulted in was me attempting to do the world's most spectacularly bad hurdle, which then resulted in me catching the chain, going face first, smashing into the floor, and generally being a little bit upset about the whole ordeal. So that was the first time it could have gone equally fantastic or equally terrible. And, you know, that's just been my Menthos. It's not been my Menthos, it's not been my sweet ever since then. So we want, like, a desk type reception area, which is going to go like that if we have, because it's going to be an enhancement facility where you get stuff replaced with robotic parts. I don't know why I've got so many doors, but you know, the amount of doors is fine. It's the dooriest of the doors that I want it to be like a very white, clean, sterile facility, because you know, you can imagine it being like that. So then you go to here, and this is where you get entered into the facility. This is the first room. We'll make it a little bit like that. There we go. I don't think I'll have time to replace all the floor, but it's okay. What my opponent's doing. They look particularly... Is that SpongeBob? How is SpongeBob to do with machinery? It better be SpongeBob, because if it's not SpongeBob, I'm going to be very, very upset that you missed an opportunity to make SpongeBob. So you go in here, and the first thing that you do is fall into a pool of lava. Now this melts all the skin and flesh off your bones, so you can start again and be reconstructed as something more. So if we get some fences over here, this is going to be like a claw type thing, which is going to like swing down and pick you up from the lava and deposit you fact, if we do it, let's not have the lava as like the first thing. In fact, we could have the lava as the first thing. Yeah, I'm going to leave the lava as the first thing. That's my thought process in a nutshell. We could do this, but we could not do this. Let's not do this. Yay, we've achieved things. Normally, the things we've achieved is further procrastination, but generally, generally speaking, things don't get done. That's actually a complete lie. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, and by I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I mean I'm not sorry, ladies and gentlemen. That again was another lie. I just don't really know what's wrong with me today. But then again, I never know what's wrong with me any day. My doctor doesn't know, therapist doesn't know. So this, like, goes down, is like a claw, it grabs you, and you're all like, thank you, claw, for grabbing me, and the claw's like, you're welcome, because the claw has that voice, because it's like, you know, you never had a sentient claw before. I've had a sentient claw. This is it, look. So this will grab you, and then it'll deposit you over here, right, over here, and over here is going to be like a chair of like a thing that you, I don't really know, okay, so this is going to be like that. There we go, like that, and then you get deposited and you're now lying on this thing. So, like this, there we go. Yes, you're lying on this thing, and then what's going to happen to you are various horrific and horrible things that in general society would be considered torture, but because this is a futuristic enhancement facility, is not considered torture. Although it might be, it depends on the rules and regulations of my dictatorship state that I'm going to run in the near future, because after all, I am a futuristic dictator type person. So that's how that works. I will see you in my glorious nation of RageGaming. The RageGaming Empire will be reborn, and then we'll all have a party. That will be the celebration, the last party that's ever allowed, I'm afraid. I may allow parties on special occasions, but then again, that's when parties generally are had anyway, so maybe it wouldn't be that. Maybe I just let people keep running everything, but what? Wow, I think I'll actually finish this time! 7 mins 30, which one's... Oh, that's because what you're doing isn't that good. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm not sorry to tell you. It makes me feel deliciously evil to tell you that, like Mr. Terek the Thule and his diamond mines. Now, if you'd like to know about the owner of this facility, well, he's called Greg. Now, Greg is always dreamed when he was a child of being a robot enhancement facility owner, because, after all, when he was a child, he fell into the most dangerous of situations and required many robot replacement limbs. Now, what happened to poor Greg was one day on a miking expedition, not a hiking as I was originally going to say, but I'm now rolling with miking. He went on a miking expedition, and in this miking expedition, he rocked the mic so hard with such furious raps, such like powerful MC grace that his lips fell off. Yeah, he rapped so hard his lips fell off. So while he was rapping like really, really hard, I'm trying really hard to pronounce my P's properly, because I don't want to say, while Greg was raping really, really hard, his lips fell off, because that just really, I don't want to offend people, because that's not funny, although that's quite hilarious. Ah, God, digging a whole metaphorical example of what I'm verbally doing. You know what I'm trying to say, reasonable people among you. God, so while he was rapping really hard, you know, with his like, I'm Greg, you're a dreg, I am the rapper. In the future, rap's dead a little bit, so it doesn't take that much to be a good rapper as it stands, so that's why that was considered really, really good rapping. So yeah, so he's Greg. The opponent was a dreg in the future, so he rapped really hard, and then his lips fell off. So he went to go get cybernetic lips. Now, what cybernetic lips are really quite good, because they allow you to have the jaw strength of a small great white shark. And Greg loved this, because his parents were marine biologists, futuristic marine biologists, so they, of course, studied bionic animals, because in the future, the human race replaced every animal with a bionic version of the animal, because we thought, you know what, it's not dangerous enough. Let's try and cause an apocalypse, because then we can fight off bionic animals and generally have a good time. Having a good time. So bionic animals were a thing. The agencies didn't really like it because they thought it was abusing animals, but then they shut up when the government had them killed, because of course in the future the government has the power to have people killed, because it is, as I said, the dictatorship of RageGaming. You see how that's come together. So Greg, his parents were fighting bionic sharks one day, and he lost a limb to a bionic shark, so he'd rapped so hard that his lips had fallen off, and then on top of that, well, the thing is, it's actually kind of ironic, because he couldn't shout for help from the bionic shark because his lips had fallen off. So he was just there going, because for some reason Greg needed his lips to speak, which is not actually a true thing for humans, but for the purposes of my story, it now is. So Greg was there, not being able to call for help while fighting off this bionic shark, and effectively what happened is he lost his arm, which meant he needed more bionic replacement limbs. So his parents finally agreed that he did need bionic replacement limbs, which were quite cheap in the future, because everyone has them, because they make everyone superheroes, because of course when everyone's super, no one is. So he went to a organic facility. He went to an organic facility, not the bionic. That's later on the bionic in the story. He went to an organic facility. Now this was ironic because he'd lost an arm, he wasn't yet able to properly carry a bag of organic cereal that his cybernetic animal marine biologist parents were purchasing. So what he did, right, was he half picked one up and he realised it was too much for his one arm, dropped the bag of incredibly heavy iron filing cereal because we're all badasses in the future, and then ended up crushing his foot. So now he's missing an arm, he rapped so hard his lips came off, and now he's also not got a foot. So as you can see, right, Greg really started off his early life on the wrong foot. Don't worry, that was an armless joke. So he finally convinced his parents to allow him to go to the facility, and he finally arrived, and he walked in to the limb replacement facility, and generally, why do I keep typing facility? I'm so sorry. And generally was considered a all-around about great patient. The secretary thought he was great. I mean, what was unfortunate is that although the secretary thought he was great, which was of course a good thing to get on with other humans, it turns out in the future you're allowed to hire complete psychos to do work, which basically meant that the secretary stabbed him a little. So he's rapped so hard his lifts came off. He lost his lifts because, of course, his grandparents were mechanical engineers who made futuristic lifts. And basically one day Greg was in one of those lifts and the lift came off and he was like, "No! Grandparents!" And then he fell and, you know, he lost his other arm. So at this point he's in a real... I don't know how he's still alive, really. Greg was a good one. He really, like was hard to kill, was Greg. You know what he's like, he's Greg. You know Greg. God. Okay, so yeah, he's in a bad state. So he finally gets to this receptionist who's also stabbed him, so he needs replacement organs now and everything, so he thinks, fuck it, full cyborg me. So he goes through the very facility that he now owns, which is what I'm building right now, okay, and he gets the best limbs and the best treatment he's ever had. So from that moment onwards, he disregards his parents' dreams that he follows in their footsteps and becomes a professional future ball player, and decides that, you know what, I'm going to own my own limb correction facility, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. So that's indeed what Greg does, and that's the story of Greg, the owner of this facility, everyone. I think you can all clearly see how Greg came to be, his tragic backstory, the lowest, I don't know, I'm so sorry! And now Gregory Gregicus is now the owner of the facility. And once you finish here, you go down on this blue path. Yes, you do. You hop off, and you go on the blue path. Now, the blue path takes you to Gregicus' office, so you can say thanks to him for owning such a wonderful replacement facility of amazingness that somehow is related to machinery. And you know how I said this build is either going to be hit or miss? I will leave it up to you guys just to decide whether I've in fact hit or miss this. Yes, indeed. It was a lot cooler in my brain. A lot of things are a lot cooler in my brain, not gonna lie. So we'll have a chair there, we'll have a desk like so. So this is Gregory Gregicus' desk. If we quickly get a sign, because we don't have a lot of time left. Yeah, I forgot to tell you a story about my little brother, but, you know, I told you the epic tale of Greg Gregorus, who hasn't even begun yet. His parents don't actually have the surname Gregicarus. Owner, he owns the place, like, he owns it, like, he tears it up, and then basically what Greg Gregicus does is it turns out he's a little psychopathic killer, and you get to his room, and he just presses a button, which kills you horribly, and then you die, and you get kind of mad that you went through all that limb replacement, horrible, torturous. If you've ever seen Doctor Who, the sounds and screams that get made as you get turned into a Cyberman, that was the kind of sounds and screams that Greg Gregicus thrived on as a child, because after all, his parents were in fact acrobats, and one night they came home after a particularly disastrous show where someone fell off and died, and they told Gregory Gregoricus about this, and he was like, that sounds pretty cool. And then from that day onwards, as the story goes, he became a serial killer. Even his chemistry grandparents, who have never fixed a lift in their life, were appalled by his actions, not to mention his actual other marine biologist, Anton. I don't even know what I'm saying, and the time's up, and stop. I hope you enjoyed the story of Greg Gregoricus. So, what have I even built? Oh, this is the last time I attempt to build something while ad-libbing the fucking story of Greg Gregoricus. Oh god, I am not gonna win. But I don't care, because I had fun, and I hope you guys had fun. If anyone could recount my epic tale into some sort of concise text format, I would be very just generally pleased with y'all. I don't know why I said that. I apologise, actually. That's So, mine is a correctional facility that you can't get in. Let me just get some pressure plate. So you go into the facility, and you're like, hello, receptionist that stabbed you. You get stabbed. Ah! So you've been stabbed. You're like, oh, it's missing quite a lot of stuff. So, you know, generally, you notice that. Then you go in here, and you have your bath, and then things get fired at you, and then the claw picks you up, and then it deposits you, right, over. Stop looking at my build, people who want correction, and then you get deposited on here, so you're now lying on this, and this thing, right, goes across this black conveyor belt floor, and it carries you. You get shot by things, you get pounded by pistons, you get manipulated by these robot hands that do various things to you, and by the time you get to the end, right, you definitely, you're covered in robotic parts because you've just been enriched. So like, if I've just been enriched, I look like a robot man now. And then you walk down to go see Greg Gregoricus, because you don't need roofs. Fuck roofs. In the future, you don't need roofs. Roofs are for squares. You just have time to read Greg Gregoricus, owner, and then he shoots you in the face, and then you die, and there's just a pile of corpses in his office. And that's the story of Greg Gregoricus and his construction worker parents. Of course, you can't forget about his horse-riding grandparents. So, let's go have a look at Vote 1. Oh, this is Mojang, there where the good Steves go. So, just an empty room. Okay, the creation of Steve, lava pit, where the bad deformed Steves go. Oh, so it's like a robot factory arm thing. That's kind of similar to what I want. So, there's Steve parts, head, legs, arms, so it's like a thing. Lower body, upper body, yeah, I get it. So, it's like a RageGaming helmet 3000. Just a giant helmet for some reason. Okay, so it's like a Steve creation factory belt. That is Vote 2. Over in Vote 3, ooh, this is pretty cool. An ad-lib robot. I like that. That's definitely machinery. That is Vote 3. I am quite happy with that. That is pretty cool. A full-on type battle robot. It's not even 2D. I'm happy. Well, quite a lot of it is, but, you know. Vote 3. And then Vote 4, we have Mecha SpongeBob. You can see his brain in like a jar, and like eyeglass chamber lasers, and I don't know. It's gotta be Mecha SpongeBob, right? Let's vote for. So Vote 1 for Greg Gregoricus' correction facility of robotic additions and his water skiing parents. And then Vote 2 for the Steve factory. Vote 3 for the robot. Vote 4 for Mecha SpongeBob. My name has been Rage. I apologise in advance for the utter what the fuck that this episode was. Please remember to like it if you enjoyed it. I will see you all next time. Goodbye.